And welcome everybody to not the extra yard. This is Yard Prep. I'm sorry, we have so many yards here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. But anyway, there's Ethan. He was hosting it just a minute ago. Then he popped out. I'm going to bring him back in here and let him take over.
All right, here we are. Thanks, Lewis. Lewis producing for us today. Welcome to the pregame show here, Yard Prep on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, make sure to check out Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. Get your initial deposit matched up to $100. We got some players here. 4 of us actually play here regularly, and actually everybody's winning lately. I don't know what's happening. I don't want to jinx this, but we're putting up a lot of winning cards. So check them out on the Five Reasons Twitter handle, which Hassam helps me with as well. But also make sure you're using that code 5 for your initial deposit. You get that matched up to $100. You don't need to play that all at once. We'll get through some of our picks here later in the show. We're previewing Dolphins Patriots today. I'm actually up in Boston. I made the executive decision not to go to the game because our flight is a little tight today. But we are going to go to a Boston sports bar and root for the Dolphins and just see how that plays out. So that is in the plans today. So hopefully my daughter and I survive that particular situation. Here's who we've got. We've got Andy on my right or my left, depending on the way that you're looking at this. We've got Eric right above him, Hussam, and of course Lewis. We'll have others in here for the post-game show as well. This is a pretty simple situation for the Dolphins here. They need to win. They need, what is it, a Jets loss, Hussam? Is that it? And they're in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's the other thing, Ethan. You know, the inactives report just came out, and you'll never believe who's actually out. We know Tua was out for this game, right? You have Bradley Chubb, who's also out. You have Eric Ezukama. He's been on the inactive list since the season started. You have Xavier Howard, who's also out.
Oh, wow.
Tackle Eric Fisher. He's been nursing a calf injury since he was signed. You also have Teron Armstead, who's also out today.
They've nursed that injury through the entire season, or both of his injuries, and this is the second one, I believe. Or second or third that he's missed? Second or third?
I think this is his third game that he's missed.
This is his third game that he's missed all year, but
third
he's been
game that he's
elite
missed
for every other game. So
third game that he's missed all year. So you're going up. There's a funny quote. It came from Gary Stevens, who was a former Dolphins offensive coordinator, as we're joined here by Michael as well. And it was basically like, you think you're going to go up to Buffalo with Bernie Parmalee and win a game in December or January? I sort of feel that way about Teddy Bridgewater without Teron Armstead. That's kind of where we're headed today. And I wonder how much that changes the game plan today, too, because I already thought they were going to have to try to protect Teddy as best as they could. Short passing game, dump offs, things like that. Now they don't have their starting left tackle. And, of course, for Teddy, that's the blind side. So that's a little bit of a different situation. And you got Judon on the other side. Let me go to you first here, Eric. Look, there's a lot of Dolphins dread for a good reason. First thing, you've lost 4 straight. You don't have your quarterback. We have seen numerous collapses, including when I put up on 5 reasons, like where would this collapse rank? Some people don't even have it in the top 5 in recent Dolphins history. I mean, you go to 1995, you go to 2002. There are several others here that are the case. Give me a reason. We're trying to be optimistic today. Give me a reason they win.
So the reason why they win is Mac Jones is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league against the blitz. And with no Bradley Chubb, the Dolphins are going to go back to their roots, and they're going to be sending pressure all game, and the defense will actually carry the team to a victory today.
Is that where you would go, Andy? Is it on the defense?
Well, you're going to have to. Without Armstead, without Tua, the offense is going to look very different. I hope Bridgewater's going to have time back there. You know, Belichick's going to do well on with his exotic packages to make things very difficult for us. We need the defense to step up against a mediocre quarterback, against a mediocre receiving core. Stop the running game. Stevenson and Damian Harris out the backfield. You stop them, and you should be able to control the game.
Michael, before the season, we were saying who are the most important Dolphins, right? Who are the guys that they cannot afford to lose? And I think the list, maybe not in this particular order, was Tua, Armstead, Howard, when we thought he was going to be the old Xavier Howard, and Tyreek Hill. And even in Tyreek's case, maybe a little bit down the list just because you did have Waddle. You felt you might get more from Cedric Wilson. They're now going up to New England, same difference. They're going up to New England, okay, without 3 of them. How does McDaniel adjust today?
Yeah, it's tricky because it's not even isolated. You're without, your best pass rusher, your only reliable corner, essentially, your quarterback, and the piece of your offensive line that when he's not in there, it almost comes across like a house of cards. That without Armstead, just everything else starts falling apart on the line. So I think what you have to do on offense is you have to get the ball out quick. You can't have Teddy hold on to the ball forever. You're going to have to operate, within 10 to 15 yards a little differently than you would otherwise when you could make those shots down the field that we've come to know with the Dolphins. And then, like Eric said, you just got to bring pressure, because if you let Mac Jones conversely stand there all day, that's the legitimate only way he can beat you. When Eric was saying Mac Jones is one of the worst quarterbacks against the blitz, I was thinking you don't even have to say against the blitz. You can just hard stop. But you have to bring pressure on that end. If you can do that, you do have a chance. But yeah, it's a bit tricky because, as you said, this is the guys that you can't miss. You are missing about all of them.
Hussam, Mike McDaniel has had, I think, by all accounts, a successful rookie head coaching season. He's changed the culture. He got his quarterback's confidence back up again. He put together an offense which is maybe the Dolphins' best offense when it's been together in the past 25 years. I feel like this is a defining game for him, though, because it's been sliding. Some of it is his fault. Some of it was not staying with the run in Buffalo, which you and I discussed ad nauseum, and others discussed ad nauseum. I feel like he's got to come up with something today, and yet I say he can't be too cute. So what is the balance there?
Well, the balance is obviously running the ball on third and fourth down. And this is something I mentioned to the panel pre-game. Over the last 5 weeks, the Dolphins are the best running team on third and fourth down. They have the highest EPA per play. And the Patriots come in as the 18th ranked run defense on third and fourth downs. Now, we know Miami doesn't run the ball a lot, but when they do, they're efficient, especially when they run to the right side of the line with Robert Hunt and Brandon Shell. Brandon Shell and Greg Little, they're going to have their hands full with Judon, Dietrich Weiss Jr., Lawrence Guy, and, that defensive line along with Chase Winovich. But if they can get the run game together with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and, Mike McDaniel, he was the supposed quote-unquote run game guru. Run the dang ball today. See how that 10th ranked Patriots run defense does. I mean, you did well running the ball up against the Packers. You did well running against the second ranked run defense up against the Buffalo Bills. You should have ran the ball up against the 49ers and Chargers. If you run the ball, you're simply going to win the game. And as the panel just said, if you play good defense, you pressure Mac Jones, who's the worst quarterback up against the blitz. And, they're the worst team in the NFL in scoring touchdowns with less than a 30% red zone touchdown percentage rate. Just get after Mac Jones and run the dang ball.
Yeah,
that's how you secure a win and a potential playoff clincher.
It feels to me, to Hassam's point, that the Patriots will move the ball 30-30. If Miami can again keep them from the red zone or force field goals in the red zone, they got a chance today. Andy, one benefit here is that being up here all week, it's gotten progressively warmer as the week has gone on, and it's going to be in the 50s today. So there's no weather excuse. Actually, the temperature at game kickoff is going to be exactly the same as it was in Miami a week ago for the Packers. So that should not impact this at all. I think the one guy we haven't talked about here so far is the one core piece they have is their number one playmaker is playing. To me, Tyreek Hill is the X factor today. Like if he can, he's the guy. I mean, we talk about Waddle, but Waddle has not been good without Tua. So like I feel like Tyreek is the one guy who can push this over the edge.
And I do agree with you. Tyreek needs to be able to make plays, and we need to give Teddy time to give him the ball. But I'm with Hassam. Like, you need to dominate running the ball today. Today's the day you get to see the magic, supposedly that we were promised from Mike McDaniel and his run game coordination and making those holes available. This offensive line with Armstead primarily, we'll see now without Armstead, has been opening holes all season when they have been given the chance. And Mostert has been taking advantage of those opportunities, as well as Jeff Wilson. We need to. This is going to be an ugly 80s, 13-10 type game. A lot of running on both sides, and it's just going to come down to which team can exert their will on the opposing team.
Andy, where are you, by the way? Because wherever you are, I'd rather be there than here at the moment.
Well, I'm actually not too far from you. I'm in North Carolina.
Okay.
They came here to a cabin, and it feels like I'm in Miami still with the weather that's been here lately. I thought I was going to see a lot of snow and stuff, but no, sir.
All right, yeah, well, we thought we'd see some up here as well. All right, we talk about reasons that they win the game today. Let's pivot around here. I'll go first to you, Michael. What is your single biggest concern today? Identify one.
Turnover margin. Dolphins have to protect the football. Your margin for error is so thin. You can't give them anything on that end. On the flip side, if you can turn over Mac Jones, which he has propensity to do, and get some short fields, get some easy points, that's a good way you can win this football game.
Let's pivot to Teddy here. Teddy Bridgewater's won games in the NFL. I mean, he's been a starting quarterback. I mean, teams have been turned over to him. I know prior to the injury in Minnesota, but in Denver he played reasonably well. He won in New Orleans. I mean, Sean Payton was guiding him there when Breeze was out. He won. Is it me? Does he just look disconnected? Like I don't like he just hasn't looked like and he's an affable guy. Like everybody likes Teddy. He's playing for his hometown team. He knew the job when he came into it. The Tua was going to be the starter, or at least they thought he knew it. What is there something wrong with him? Who's not? Because he didn't look good to me in a single training camp practice that I saw. He hasn't looked good when he got the opportunity. Like he doesn't look like. I mean, it looks like they would have been better off with Jacoby Brissett. Honestly, like I never thought I would say that.
I don't know if you guys have followed Teddy Bridgewater throughout his career like I have, but he's been that same guy since he was at Northwestern, at Louisville, in Minnesota, in New Orleans, in Denver. He's got that loose type of personality where it seems as if he doesn't care, but like deep down inside, he does. He's a nonchalant type of guy. But here's the thing with Teddy, like he can win you games. And one thing I noticed was that when he was in New Orleans, he had a good group of pass catchers, and Mike Thomas and Jarvis Landry, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. He had a good offensive line. He had a good run game. He won a lot with Sean Payton. I didn't really watch a lot of his games in Denver, but Minnesota was the same way. He had good pass catchers. He had a good offensive line. He had a great running back, and Dalvin Cook. I mean, the recipe is there for Teddy to win games in Miami. He's 5-0 with Teron Armstead starting in New Orleans. He's what, 0-2? He's 0-2 without him in Miami. Could be 0-3 today if they don't run the ball and the offensive line can't pass protect and the defense can't get to Mac Jones. I mean, this is gonna ride on Teddy Bridgewater offensively if the run game can't get going.
Eric, what's your level of confidence in Teddy today?
Out of 10, probably a 7.
Really?
Yeah, especially considering the Patriots injuries in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk about, they have to protect Teddy, but there is a world in which Waddle and Hill are just getting open quick enough that it really doesn't matter too much, and they're able to get the ball out of his hands. And that's the thing with Teddy is I trust him to be a distributor and to kind of keep the offense on track and ahead of the sticks.
Well, here's the thing, Ethan. I'm sorry to cut you off, Eric. The Patriots are without, I believe, 3 or 4 of their top 5 defensive backs today.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a bunch. I don't know how many, but yes, it's a bunch. So,
they may have Lynn Bowden line up as a slot cornerback today. That's how bad it is.
Oh, there's still some who want Lynn Bowden to be starting.
So essentially, they're just as
Miami.
desperate. They're just as desperate as the Miami Dolphins are.
Well, I'll say this for being up here all week. When you talk to me about the Patriots, there's not a lot of confidence in them right now. Like there definitely is. I love the birds in the background though. That makes me feel much better. They're migrating up this way. There's not a lot of confidence in them either. Like I feel like there's definitely been a lack of faith in Belichick that's developed here over the past couple of years, and certainly in Mac Jones. Let's get to some prize picks, and then we're going to get to the picks, and then I'm going to let Lewis have the last word here today because I can't have Lewis on a show and not speak. So we're going to do that. Let's get to the prize picks. I was looking at the board today, and there's not a lot on the Dolphins side. I will say that the Mac Jones prop being I think it was 230 or something along those lines. Does anybody have a favorite prop today? Let's do it though, because I'm doing this a little differently today. I'm on my phones. I can't see all of them. I will say that on Prize Picks on 5, David Eversole was pounding the drum on the Raheem Mostert props, whether it was the rushing yards or the rushing and receiving yards. I think 8.5 receiving yards for him. I went over. This is going to surprise people. I went over on Jason Sanders' points because they're at 6. So I figure you get 2 field goals in there and 1 extra point, 13 points. That's enough to clear it. Is there anything that strikes you on the board today, Andy?
Oh, at 50. Oh, sorry. I
Go
knew
ahead,
at the
Andy.
board
I
and
muted you. Sorry.
it's okay. Yeah, sorry for the birds, man. Yeah, I see Waddle at 55.5, and it's like crack when I see him in his receiving yards prop. I have to play it even though Tua is not playing. And Teddy Bridgewater 5.5 rushing yards. That's just one play. I like to play those stupid little props there. Raheem Mostert 44.5 rushing yards.
Yeah. See, I think that's an easy over.
Wow.
Yeah. To me, that's the one. To me, that's the one I would play. I'm with you on Waddle, but again, I don't trust him without Tua. Hill's number's the lowest it's been in weeks. I think it's 76.5. Would anybody play the Hill over today?
Yes.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill in the games Teddy's played, really meaningful snaps. He got 177 against the Vikings and 160 against the Bengals. So I am absolutely hammering that.
That one is interesting. On the Patriots side, Stevenson, I believe, was at 60.5 rushing yards. I think the last that I looked at it. Would anybody play that over?
Probably they're going to be running the ball a lot. I think we can still win if he goes over, but he's definitely winning 80, 90 rushing yards.
Stevenson actually got bumped down to 58.5. So
might give you enough. I feel it's a little bit close. Does anybody else like my Sanders prop? Is anybody else gutsy enough to say that he'll accrue 7 points today?
It makes sense, but I don't want to play that, man. Sorry, bro.
You know what? I'm lining up for 49 yards at the end of this thing. All right, let's get to the picks, and I'm going to let Lewis have the last pick today. Go to Prize Picks, use the code 5 FIVE. We're actually, like I said, we're going to a Boston sports bar here, so we're going to see how that plays out. I'll go to you first, Eric. Did they win today?
Yeah, I do.
Wait, no, you can't say yeah after you go like that.
Well, I think last week was kind of a hard luck loss. So I'll give them 17-13.
Andy?
I did until Chubb Armstead was out, man. But I can't pick against them. I'm going 13-10 Dolphins, man. Fins for the win.
We're gonna have to watch that game. Michael, you're on mute, I think. I'll go to. Oh no, Michael, what do you think? This is just a bunch of deep sighs. Seriously, guys, come on. What do we got?
Give me 2017 Dolphins.
do you mean that, or are you just guessing? Or are you just wanting to make sure you don't pick the Patriots because you don't want the people watching to boo you?
Hey! I took the Bills both times against Miami, and I think I took the Chargers. I just can't. I have no faith in Mac Jones, and I have no faith in their running game. This is just not a Patriots team who scares me. They may end up winning, and I know the Dolphins are without everyone who anyone in the national media knows, but I just can't go with the Patriots. So give me 2017 Fins.
Hussam?
It's funny because Ethan, you know about this as well. Look, the Heat won last night really, really well. And as the Heat come on their ascension, historically, the Dolphins descend into a really, really, really bad collapse. And it's happened over the last 5 to 6 years. They've also have really, really bad second half collapses offensively with Mike McDaniel, and the defense has held up. I think, Miami gets off to a good start in the first half, and then they just sputter. I have New England winning this 20-18.
Lewis, you go, and I'll guess. No, you know what? I'll go, and then I'll let Lewis close. I want to let Lewis have last word since he's been waiting so long. I will just say this. I have PTSD up here. I was here in 2002 with a much healthier, much better at that point Dolphins team and Ricky Williams was running wild. And I actually congratulated Rick Spielman at halftime for making the playoffs. And then they decided not to run Ricky in the second half, and Norv Turner decided to throw it Terrell Buckley 3 straight times with Jay Fielder to Chris Chambers. And Orlando Murray kicked the ball out of bounds, and Travis Minor fumbled, and that was the worst locker room I've ever been in my life. I don't like this Patriots team. I agree with you, Michael. I don't think they're very good. I don't trust Dolphins teams, particularly beat up Dolphins teams at this time of year. And I hate to say this, I love McDaniel. I don't trust him to stay with the run. I just don't. I feel like he's going to force some things. I think Teddy makes a couple of big mistakes. And I actually think we might see a situation where Matt gets, Matt gets knocked out and the other kid plays. And we have one of those stories again up here.
Are you talking about Bailey, the rocket arm Zappy?
That's what that's what the Uber drivers are talking about. So
don't mess with my prop, Ethan.
I'm concerned about that. I'm going to say Patriots 23, Dolphins 20. Jason Sanders misses a 43-yard field goal early in the fourth quarter that comes back to haunt them, but still gets my 7 points. Lewis, what do you think?
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this real quick. Apologies if there's any echo in here. Hussam says I sound like Beyonce, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but besides that.
You don't look like her. Go ahead.
No, I don't look like her. But in any case, I've been thinking about this all week long. I think I might have actually picked Miami to win this game when I was on Pulse Offense Nation, but now as I'm thinking about it more and more, as I'm looking at what's going on with the inactive list, I see Teron Armstead is out and it's going to be Greg Little instead. I see that Xavier Howard is out and Noah Igbenogany, my favorite with the orange sleeves, is going to probably be getting some snaps. I'm seeing that Bradley Chubb is out, and this is no disrespect to Andrew Van Ginkel, but Bradley Chubb is here for a reason. He gets doubled. He gets a lot of attention from offensive linemen, and that helps open things up for guys like Jalen Phillips. I've reached the point where, you know what, I don't really think I have much of a choice at this point. I don't trust Mike McDaniel to consistently run the football. I do not trust anybody to get things done the way they're supposed to get done, and I think that we've reached a point where I think the Dolphins are not going to win this game. I think that the Patriots are going to win. It's going to be something along the lines of 21-16. I'm going to give the Dolphins that much. But unless either Teddy Bridgewater becomes a fantastic distributor of the football and is able to take advantage of this vastly depleted Patriots secondary, or they're going to run the ball and they're going to get the job done the way that I want them to get it done, because I've been screaming to the heavens for the past several weeks now, continually run the ball. I actually made an observation during Pulse of Fins Nation. Like, based on the numbers against the Packers, you would think the Dolphins had a better running game, but they didn't run it. And the Packers continually ran the football, even though it wasn't really working. So they didn't go away from it. And that was a debate I had with Ron, and maybe we'll have another debate with it on postgame. But my ultimate prediction, 21-16, New England wins. But that being said, that still does not actually go ahead and eliminate the Dolphins from the playoff contention. All they have to do is beat the Jets next week if the Patriots lose in Buffalo, which, by the way, the Patriots are going to lose in Buffalo. Let's not act like they're going to get lost. So even if Miami loses today, the playoffs are still very, very much a possibility. All Miami has to do is just win one. Just win one game. And by the way, Clifty McNerd, Mike McDaniel, I'm not going to put him there yet. I just think that he's got to learn how to adjust his game plans a little bit. That's all.
Boy, I can't wait till they have to play the Jets at home in a winner-take-all game at 8-8. Oh God, that is going to.
Well, they had to do that in 2008 anyway, didn't they, Ethan?
Yeah, 2008 they had to go up to the Meadowlands. I was there. That was a much better locker room. They beat Favre with Pennington. They did win up there that time, but I look, the Jets' history is just as troubled as the Dolphins' history. So we'll see if that plays out. But you're coming in on a 5-game losing streak. Good luck. All right, thanks to everybody. We're 3-3 here on the panel, so we'll see how this one plays out. Thanks to Andy, thanks to Eric, thanks to Michael, thanks to Sam, thanks to Lewis for producing. Guys, we'll be back on the post-game show. I'm going to a Boston sports bar. Wish me luck. And by the way, Hussam, the Heat are not back yet, so you're okay with that. But the Tyler Hero 3 last night did not help with this situation. I'll just say that. Have a good day, everybody. Use that code 5, F-I-V-E.
Vaya con Dios, Ethan.
Fins up, baby.